So Bitcoin is back, and so am I. Let's get started. Okay folks, so Bitcoin is back above $50,000. I haven't made a video in about 18 months and the channel is no longer called Cryptalk. It's changed. I've changed the name to Bitcoin News and Updates. Kind of boring, kind of generic, but in fairness, just after learning more about how YouTube works, it kind of seemed a very obvious choice. The channel name should describe and tell you a little something about what the channel is about, what the content's about. So that's that's the new channel title. So Bitcoin News and Updates, because that's literally what I'm going to be speaking about. Now, I got a few things before, since it's my first video in about 18 months, of a few things here. I actually took notes. So let's get started on this. Cover the name change. Next thing, why no videos? The last video I made, in the video I said that the bear market had definitely begun and we were officially in a bear market. That was about maybe 18 months ago. I think it was in July of 2022. Can't believe it's been that long. It didn't seem that long ago, but yeah. And we were officially in a bear market. Bitcoin had topped out in November 2021 at just under $70,000. It's crazy to even think that. But yeah, the whole thing collapsed and I said, yeah, we're in a bear market. Now, to be honest, it got really, really boring. I commend all the YouTubers out there, the crypto YouTubers out there who make videos every single day, day in, day out. Even when there's very, very little news. I personally didn't want to do that during a bear market. Maybe in the future bear market I will. But yeah, so that's why no videos. The next thing, nothing's changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. I haven't sold one single Satoshi, not one bit of Bitcoin. I got rid of my altcoins at the time of making the last video. I think I was holding some ETH and some Polkadot. But yeah, got rid of my altcoins. But basically my portfolio, which is, it's not astronomical to be fair, is just 100% Bitcoin. Yeah, and that's again the channel. While I will occasionally talk about altcoins, the channel is essentially a Bitcoin channel. So yeah, nothing's changed. I'm still going to be saying things like do your own research, don't invest any more than you can afford to lose. Yeah, so I mean, and not financial advice. They're kind of the pillars there, because none of this is financial advice and you shouldn't. That's one bit of free advice I will give you. You shouldn't actually invest more than you can afford to lose, and you should do your own research. Read the Bitcoin Standard, read the Bitcoin white paper, watch well, actually, not all the YouTubers, a lot of shills out there, and let's be honest, the crypto space, 98%, probably even higher of the cryptocurrencies out there, absolutely useless and very, very scammy. But yeah, I don't think Bitcoin's like that. So basically, my opinion on Bitcoin remains unchanged. Through the bear market, even though I wasn't making any videos, I was still dollar cost averaging. Just every time I got paid, a little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of Bitcoin. Wasn't selling any. Yeah, so things are good. We're back above 50,000. We'll be doing a little bit of TA. Just gonna get through a few more of these points. Yeah, so the ETF, why is it now? Why is it now back above 50,000? There's multiple different reasons for it. I think the main two are the ETF. So finally, after years and years of speculation and numerous different rejections, there is an ETF, basically an exchange traded fund. In short, it gives traders another way of buying and selling Bitcoin more traditionally, but they're technically not actually, a lot of these, you don't actually hold or own the underlying asset. So it just gives traders a more traditional way of buying and selling and betting on the Bitcoin price, which way you want to say it. Big deal anyway, and has caused massive amounts of money. They're talking like billions of dollars are flowing into these ETFs since it started maybe about a month ago or something like that. The halving then, of course, that's these two things. It's like a perfect storm here. Typically in these cycles, a halving happens, the Bitcoin price doesn't really do much. It might increase a bit or trade sideways. We are going to be looking at that in the TA section. And then about 12 to 18 months later, when, people are talking to you, asking you about it, your friends, your family, your workmates, people you meet at the gym or whatever, people are asking you about it, and then it's too late. When the dogs on the street are talking about it, when mainstream media is picking it up, it's too late. The time to start dollar cost and average, well, I'd argue that the time is now, but during a bear market, that's where the value is. I mean, Bitcoiners, typically, there's like 3 stages. The first stage is when you first get in, you get excited when the price increases, and then you get annoyed and kind of get anxious when the price decreases. The second stage then is you still get excited when the price increases, and nothing happens and the price decreases because you know it'll bounce back. The third stage then is when the price crashes, you get excited because you can buy cheap Bitcoin because you know inevitably it's going to go back up again. So yeah, the one final thing I would say before we start to kind of TA and a few little things I want to go over in this video is that although I didn't sell any Bitcoin, not one single Satoshi, and I did sell my altcoins, and although I continued to dollar cost average, I was stung by that BlockFi fiasco. Obviously FTX went under. BlockFi essentially, whatever you can call it, liquidation, bankrupt, whatever. I had money in their BIA, their Bitcoin interest account. What that means is I had a small bit of my portfolio in BlockFi in an interest account. And why I had that is because monthly they paid me out, not in dollars, but in crypto, paid me out in Bitcoin, which I thought was a fantastic idea. And it was tipping away nicely, earning interest, not in fiat, not in pounds or euros or dollars, but in Bitcoin. That was the attractive bit. Obviously, only put a small bit of my portfolio in this because, well, I was anticipating, well, no one knew it was going to happen, but the ledger is the safest place. Cold storage wallet is the safest place, personally, I found anyway, for maintaining kind of you have your private keys and you've custody of your own coins. It's yours. I wouldn't keep them on the exchange and stuff like that, but small bit of my portfolio was in BlockFi. Where I'm at the moment, BlockFi have started settling and paying back, from what I understand, people who have funds in their wallets, but not the Bitcoin interest accounts yet. My understanding is I'm not going to get the Bitcoin back, I'm going to get the dollar equivalent back, and yeah, it's on a specific date when Bitcoin was at its lowest, so that, not happy about that, so I'll be waiting for that. But yeah, got stung with that and waiting to get something back. But look, a lot of people are in the same boat, I imagine. So a few things I want to talk about or show you is, first of all, Bitcoin back above $52,000. Well, back above $50,000. I think it's just under 52. I think it hit 52 tonight or today. I'll just check that. Well, it actually did. Sorry, I tell a lie. It did briefly wick up to, what was that? 52,146. Okay, so yeah, it did break $52,000 according to the Kraken chart. Anyway, we were using the Kraken chart and the Coinbase chart for this. So we're in the midst of this ETF. That's probably the main catalyst. This ETF spot product that has been launched maybe about a month ago. I saw Anthony Pompliano saying that Bitcoin hitting another all-time high, breaking its current all-time high and hitting a new one, within the next 12 months is basically a cert. I do believe that's going to happen. So, if you're in, I mean, one thing actually, I'm going to go on a side track here. This is my third time I've seen this. I've seen the cycle, the halving, the inevitable FOMO, and the headlines, and your people coming out of the woodwork asking you about it, and then it crashing out in 2017, $20,000 crashing out, and everyone's saying it's dead, it's done, it's finished. And then the second time, then say 2021 was, well, I suppose the bull run would have started in 2020, and then 2021, same thing again. The first thing I learned was buy more Bitcoin and don't sell any, because I made a few mistakes back in 2017-18. The second cycle taught me you need to take profits. And you need to take profits the day it hits the all-time high. I'm not going to lie. My strategy for this bull cycle is to take profits. When it hits the all-time high, sell 25%. And it's very, very hard. I actually find it easier to buy when it's down and out, when there's blood in the streets, when it's down to $10,000, and it didn't go down to $10,000, it went down to about 16, but still, I think that's fine, that's easy, because you were going to buy it at 50,000, at 60,000, and 70,000. Why wouldn't you buy it when it's 20,000? No brainer, if you do believe in it. I mean, come on, 21 million Bitcoins maximum ever's going to be made. It's a deflationary asset. You've got this, it's just like this fixed supply, and the fact that even the halving is built in, and it supply and demand. So the second bull run that I went through, say in 2020, 2021, that taught me need to take profits. So next, my strategy now, all-time high, it hits, I'm going to sell, 25% of my portfolio, leave it there and buy back when it inevitably crashes. And that I find hard to do though, because you're like, this might go up to 80,000, this might go up to 9,000. A small little part of your brain says it's never going to crash again, but that is not true. And you're going to see, they're going to come out of the woodwork. You're going to have obviously, look, I didn't make a video for the last 18 months, but I was still watching the videos, I was still paying attention, I still had my finger on the pulse. But you're going to see so many more crypto YouTubers, and there's going to be so many more currencies, and everyone's going to be trying guessing the right one. It's like a needle in the haystack. You know, these silly, stupid dog coins and crap, like just nonsense. Like the only coin that I think is worth paying attention, to be honest, is Bitcoin. But look, I have messed around with other things. There are another few interesting. I do think Polkadot is kind of interesting in Ethereum, but Ethereum, even the gas fees. Right, I don't want to go on a side tangent. I'm ranting here anyway, but look, you get my point. So, right, the first thing, which is a decent segue, this is just a Google Trends search. And it's a worldwide search just for Bitcoin, right? So it's a Google Trends analysis for the word Bitcoin, how many times it was searched. And this is from going back as far as the 1st of January 2008, because obviously Bitcoin was first came on the scene about 2008, and to today, Valentine's Day 2024. Happy Valentine's Day. Now, if you look at it, nothing happened, and then bang, massive interest and people Googling Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin? How do I buy Bitcoin? All that kind of stuff in 2017. And of course, that's when it hit $20,000 in December 2017. Then bang, crash, just like that. Just like crash. That was like, I think it was December, I think it was the 18th of December 2017, hit 20K and then bang, gone. Then a year later, it's down to like, I know, what did it go down to? I think it went down to like 1,500 or something like that, or something ridiculous. About 85% of it gone. And no one cares. And then we saw the same thing again, or similar, in 2020-21. Like the same cycle. Halving happens in May 2020, 4 years later after 2016. It kind of trades sideways. It was like a non-event. But then in the following 12 to 18 months, interest grows. We had this likes of Tesla buying Bitcoin, the industries, you know, the financial institutions like Tesla, you had a MicroStrategy, I know BlackRock, all these massive, huge interest. But if you look at the Google Trends search, there wasn't half amount of interest, because I'd imagine a lot of retail was driving the one in 2017. Then no one really cared, or well, I suppose half the amount of people cared just by this trend. But if you look where we are now, there's a little bit of a peak, but nowhere near the same amount of interest just based on Google Trends. And that's only one data point. So retail doesn't care. When I say retail, I mean normal people with normal jobs, nurses, people working in restaurants, cops, guards, firemen, whatever. So it's not the massive industries there, but they are buying. They are definitely buying. Of course, the ETF money is flowing into them. Now, I just want to do this just for argument's sake. Let's say this is just DCABTC.com, dollar cost average. Bitcoin.com. Look, it's the safest way of investing in Bitcoin. Instead of going and maxing out your credit card and taking out a bank loan and selling your car and all the nonsense, just tip away. Just pick, you get paid once a week or fortnightly or once a month. How much will I not miss? And I know that's very, very difficult. How much can I afford to lose? How much can I afford to put into this and just accept that it's gone? Because that's the mentality you have to have. You put $25 or euros or pounds in every 2 weeks. You accept that that is gone. That's the way you have to treat this, because it is a risk. And like you're gonna see, especially if you're new, or even if it's your second cycle, like you're gonna see so much nonsense online and so much like hype, and you really have to, it's hard to see the forest through the trees. I was there. But dollar cost averaging with that little safety net and being consistent with it, maybe it's $10 a month or £50 fortnightly or fortnightly or €100 a month or whatever. And what this does is it helps you kind of calculate this. Just it works kind of retrospectively backward. You know, I'm just going to shut up and show you what I'm talking about. Right, let's just say you were putting $50 in, right? And you were putting it in every 2 weeks. And you did that for, say, the last 2 years. Let me see. We're now at what? I wonder, can I do this, customize this? I should be able to customize this starting at on a specific date. That will work. Okay. The specific date I have in mind is, that's February, wouldn't it be? No. So I'm thinking, let's say, the 11th of November 2021. So that's in or around, I don't know the exact date, November 2021 when it hit 70,000, but you know, that was a very, very high, right? So basically, do you know what? We can even go, no, we'll leave it at that. Right? So the reason I'm picking that is because a lot of people will get in at the very, very top. They'll put a certain amount in and then bang, it will crash. They'll get worried, they'll cut their losses and they'll sell. And they'll never come back. Whereas if you dollar cost average, even at the top, like even at the very, very top, you mightn't make money, but you mightn't lose money. Just have a look at what I'm saying. So right, $50 every 2 weeks, and you're starting on that date. Now, I wonder, this says accumulate for 3 years. Let's say, accumulate for 3 years, and we've done a specific date. So what it says there is your total invested would be $29,050. Now, the total value, $29,006. Yeah, you would have been down 10%. Okay. But the reason I'm doing that is very much on purpose, because that was literally buying at the worst possible time. The worst possible time. And then holding on to your investment. And now it's about to get interesting. And now that all those Bitcoin you bought during the bear market for lower, now that it's going to start ramping up again, going forward, you know, it'll be a lot more profitable, hopefully. Again, not financial advice, not that kind of stuff. So let's go back a bit further. Let's say $25 weekly. No one's going to do that. Well, people do that. Let's say $25 every 2 weeks, right? $25 every 2 weeks. And let's say you're doing, you know what, we'll keep the 50 the same. Sorry, it's a very loose video here. So $50 every 2 weeks. And let's say 5 years. What's that? 2020, that's 2019, right? Do you know what? Actually, go back even further. Let's go back 6 years, right? And you'll start 6 years ago. So what's it? 2024, 2018. That would be like basically in the mist. This time, 2018, it would be just after collapsing, right? So your total investment would be $7,850 or euro or pound, whatever, and your total value would be $15,029. So basically doubled your money. Now there are other people that will say if you put it into the S&P 500 or more traditional stocks, you can get, 4% growth a year or something like that. Yeah, fine. But look, I'm just showing you this. I thought it was a good thing to show. Anyway, right. So what are we going to do? Let's just do a small bit of TA and then we'll close up this video. Right. So you're going to have to bear with me now. It's been a while since I made one of these videos. So I want to go back to here. This is Wednesday, the 10th of November, 2021. I believe that's when... Yeah, that's when it maxed out. So that's, you talk, man, that's amazing. Just under $70,000, crazy. And what I've done, I remember drawing a trend line here. It was maybe around here, just connecting that peak there and this peak here. So obviously it had a collapse here. There was a lot of activity around $42,000. If you look here, the reason this yellow dashed line is there is because it's $42,000. It just seems to be like there's a lot of activity there. If you can see going back here, rejection here, just going back to where the cursor is. So the 4th of January 2021, rejection, get down, breaks up through it, acts as support, fell down below it, rejection here, eventually breaks above it, support, and then it bounced up to the all-time high. Fantastic. And you can see there's a lot of activity here. Support, fell below it, rejected. You get the point. $42,000, just very, it's a key level for Bitcoin. So you had this rejection here. Obviously, that's not rejection, that's the all-time high. Rejection was first rejection on the 30th of March, 2022. So you're talking like 3 months later. And then it fell below this line, traded sideways through it basically. I got another rejection there. Traded kind of passed through it, traded sideways to it. And what's interesting, just want to go into here there. You can see it here. Bit of a rejection here, not perfect here the way I've drawn this. Another rejection here, trade sideways through it, collapses down, but then this acts as support. Now, the trend line I'm drawn in here now, which would have started, say, back here on November 2022, so a year after, that's very interesting, because that's really interesting to me, because this is the second time that I've seen a cycle hit its peak at the end of 1 year, for example, December 2017 when it hit $20,000, and then a year later, in December 2018, it bottomed out. It bottomed out of its the bear market, and that's what it seems, because I made a video in July 2022 and I was like, yeah, we're well into the bear market now. So I think it's bottomed there. The bear market actually ended on November 2022, again a year after it hit its peak. So it's amazing that these super cycles or lengthening cycles, I don't think that's going to happen, and I think that's dangerous. From what I've seen, because it's like you think, oh, maybe this one's longer, maybe this time will be different. For me, it just seems to be, I know we've only had a few cycles of these, but it just seems to be that it's 4 years, every 4 years, every 4 years. So anyway, let's just say that's the start of, it marks the end of the bear market. So then this support line here It's holding for this, not a perfect bounce here, but a lot of activity there, and it's after shooting up. Okay, so let's take a look at its activity around 42,000. And I'm going to do a bit of a kind of macro analysis. We're going to go into a different chart and we're going to take a look at how the halving affects everything. So breaks up through 42, kind of wrestles with it here, kind of flips to support there. You got a support there off it. It wicks down, but more support here and here. Again, below it, there's a lot of activity around $42,000. Now, if I just have a look at this and switch this to, let's say, the 4-hour chart. Yeah, we'll take a look at the 4-hour chart. I think there might be, I think this was the flag I was looking at. That looked like an ascending triangle. I think it's an ascending triangle. It's been a while. And then if you look at this, so there's the flagpole. It broke to the upside, so I can just kind of carry that. I'll actually just make that yellow and a bit easier to see. Right, so I'm going to take this at the point of the breakout there. Yeah, okay, that's kind of hit its target. Now, at that point in time, I want to just take a look, because I do think there's a rejection coming. And I'll show you why. Let's just look at EMA indicator. This will do, whatever, anyone. Right, if you look at this, these are like moving averages. It's a kind of helpful indicator. So basically when it's above this, it's good, and when it's below, it's bad. All right, so these are these moving averages here. If you look at it, it gets away from it, comes back, and this EMA ribbons, these moving average, act as support, and it bounces along there. So I'd imagine that's going to continue, but there will be rejections that will bring it down into this ribbon, and so on. If it breaks down below it, obviously you're going a bit lower. Like, it's not going to go straight up. I said that in multiple different videos, all those year and a half ago when I was making these videos. Let's take another look at one of my favorite indicators as well. It's a really simple one. I like the RSI. When it gets to 100, it's a sign that it's overbought. We got there in the end, and it's a sign that the rejection is coming. And when it gets lower towards the lower numbers, like less than 10 or whatever like that, or even just close to 0, it's a sign that it is actually oversold, and that, you know, a pump is coming. Okay, we got there in the end. Bear with me, I apologize. Right, and I'm going to flick onto a different chart before we end this video. And the first thing I want to do is just do a little calculation here on, just want to do a little calculation. So from the top, from that all-time high, just under 70,000, November 2021. Hard to believe that's 2.5 years ago. Down to the bottom, it was like an 80% correction. And if I remember correctly, the correction that we saw in 2018 between, like, say, December 2017 and then a year later, December 2018, about 85%. So the correction was very severe, maybe 6% easier, or not as severe, grand, because I think it was an 85% correction, but like still massive correction. And this same thing can happen again. Like, I think the worst thing you can do is believe this thing can be different. It's the cycles that make the money, realistically. I mean, let's face it, to buy at the absolute bottom, that's what you want. You're not going to call the bottoms, you're not going to call the tops. But if you're thereabouts, if it hits an all-time high, sell some, wait, and then set buy orders for amounts underneath that. Okay, currently from the all-time high, we are down to 25%. Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there. Now let's just look at the macro. If we look all the way back here, the blue line, the first blue line, is the halving in 2016. Again, if you're new to it, if you're new to Bitcoin, Bitcoin's supply is it's fixed. Every 10 minutes, a new block is added to the blockchain. A block is basically a massive packet of digital information. It's basically all the transactions that happen in that 10-minute period. Now, the miners then get paid out. So every 10 minutes, the current block reward is 6.25. That means 6.25 brand new Bitcoins are minted, created, released, whatever you want to say, every 10 minutes. Now, the next halving, the halvings happens every 4 years. The next halving is the blue line, the horizontal blue line on the right here. So it's, I've just put it in there for the predicted date of April 2024. So right now, the current, like all this activity here, you can see here in between these two blue vertical lines, that's where the block reward was 6.25. Now, as soon as we go through this line, it drops down to 3.125. So you've literally, just like that, one block is 6.25 Bitcoins, and 10 minutes later, the block reward is 3.125. per 10 minutes. So you're dropping from like this 900 Bitcoins getting made every day to 450, cut in half. The basic, any business studies teacher, economics will supply and demand. If something is in scarce supply and there's big demand for it, like Bitcoin, the institutions are gobbling these things up. Retail hasn't got to the party yet. Well, again, the new retail will say the price is going to increase. And that happened the last time, that's happened the time before the last time, that's more than likely what will happen again. Now, if you go back here to this last halving, it would have dropped from, what was it, 12.5 Bitcoins down to 6.25, and before that was 25. Now, what I want to look at is just a bit of analysis, small little bit of a look. Right, so back in 2016, July 2016, right? Let me get this right. I want to do this properly. So from the halving in July 2016 to the top of the bull run, the peak, the all-time high in December 2018, that was a 3,779, just maybe a 4,000% increase. Now, let's take a look at the next one. So the next one then, fast forward to 2020. Okay, we all remember what was happening in 2020. From the halving up to its current all-time high of just under $70,000, that was only an increase of about 700%. So these, the kind of the gains from halving to the peak of the next bull run that the halving is a catalyst for, the returns are getting lower. Okay, so I'm not saying you can't just like walk in and expect to be a millionaire. That's not really how it works. But there is money to be made. So the next one then, like what happens then if like 700%? So 700%. Let's say it's 4 times less than that. Let's say the return is like 4 into 7,000 or something like that. That's a 200% increase or 100% increase. I'd say it's going to hit 100,000. I think that's a conservative bet for this particular bull run. Right, folks, that was a very, very, definitely very, very rusty video. Would you believe I don't rehearse this stuff? So yeah, so the channel name is Bitcoin News and Updates. Just kind of outlined just a bit of kind of macro analysis and factoring in the halving and stuff like that. If you want to support the channel, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, let me know if you're picking up Bitcoin, dollar cost averaging Bitcoin, etc. That's it. That's the end of the video. See you in the next one. Good luck.